The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Since many have undertaken to compile a narrative of the events that have been fulfilled among us, just as those who were eyewitnesses from the beginning and ministers of the word have handed them down to us, I too have decided, after investigating everything accurately anew, to write it down in an orderly sequence for you, most excellent Theophilus, so that you may realize the certainty of the teachings you have received. Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news of him spread throughout the whole region. He taught in their synagogues and was praised by all. He came to Nazareth, where he had grown up, and went according to his custom into the synagogue on the Sabbath day. He stood up to read, and was handed a scroll of the prophet Isaiah. He unrolled the scroll and found the passage where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring glad tidings to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim a year acceptable to the Lord." Rolling up the scroll, he handed it back to the attendant and sat down, and the eyes of all the synagogue looked intently at him. He said to them, "Today, this scripture passage is fulfilled in your hearing." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Well, as I mentioned last weekend, this weekend I'm sharing with you, taking some time to share with you the annual State of the Parish report. Normally I do this in early February, but because of different things happening in the world, it made it necessary to move it to this weekend. So I don't have some of the things I would normally have to give you, like a summary financial report. The Finance Council met on Thursday. They're getting that ready. We'll make that available to you as soon as possible. But I do take some time every year to do this. I take one Sunday to do it because I think it's important. If you're new to the parish, I only do this once a year. And as I say, I do this because this is your parish. I may be pastor of the parish at the moment, but it truly is your parish. And it was your parish long before I got here. And in decades and centuries to come, will be your parish long after I'm gone from here. So it's important that you have some idea of what's happening in your parish, where things are going. If you happen to be a guest here today, and I do know we have some guests, you are about to learn more about our parish than you probably know about your own parish. So enjoy this for you. Obviously, I cannot talk about everything that happened in 2015 and everything we hope to do in 2016. But to sort of frame the conversation, just some numbers and some thoughts for you to show you where we're going. In brief, it's all good. It's all good. What I've shared with you in past years, those trends continue. So for example, in 2015, in terms of new registration, new households registering in the parish, we had 132 new households register in the parish. So right now we have 1,110 households registered in the parish. We do know that there are many other households that attend regularly, but for whatever reason have not at this point chosen to officially join the parish and to register. Interestingly, more than 100 of those 1,000+ households, they live outside of Livermore, and yet have still chosen this to be their faith community, their faith home. So I'm very grateful for that. By point of comparison, in 2014, we welcomed 26 new members through the sacrament of baptism. In 2015, that doubled to 52. In 2014, we celebrated 5 weddings here in the parish. In 2015, that doubled to 10 weddings here in the parish. We celebrated First Communion last year for children, youth, and adults that totaled 61 people. 19 of our youth were confirmed, 10 adults were confirmed, and we also said goodbye to 12 of our members in their funerals. We had 61 formal sick calls where people would call and say, a member of my family is dying, a member of my family is having surgery or is ill, can you come anoint them? In addition to that, there was a number uncountable. It was a lot of folks who would just come to my office or stop me after Mass and say, hey, Father, could you pray for me? I'm having surgery tomorrow. Whoa, let me get the oil. We need to celebrate anointing. So I don't know how many of those were, probably easily as many. So lots of anointing happening. If you can't tell by the parking lot and the pews today, Mass attendance continues to grow. Every single one of our Masses has had an increase in attendance. The greatest growth happened at the 11:30 Mass. That Mass experienced about a 31% growth in attendance. This Mass in 2015 experienced about a 10% growth in attendance. But just to give you numbers, again, for comparison, in 2014, on an average weekend here, 860 people came to Mass between our 4 Masses, 860. Last year, that number jumped to 930. So we increased attendance by an average of 70 more people a weekend in 2015 over 2014. Christmas, which we just had in December, our largest on record. I mean, more than 1,000 people attended the 4 o'clock family Mass alone. So you can just imagine, it's very popular and it definitely is the largest Mass we have all year. Attendance at the daily 9 o'clock Mass is also very strong. Usually the chapel is full with people standing in the back, except on Wednesdays. I don't know what happens in the world on Wednesdays, but like a smattering of people come. I don't know what's going on Wednesdays, but not that many people come. On Thursdays, though, when our Women in God's Spirit group is meeting, when Wings are meeting, we actually need to have Mass here in the church because we can't fit them in for the chapel. So Thursday makes up for Wednesday, I suppose. I don't know, but there it is. I also think we have probably one of the best, most talented, most dedicated staffs in the diocese. It's just amazing how the majority of our staff put in time, energy, resources beyond what's expected of them for the good of the parish because they're so committed to ministry, to you guys, to the mission of the parish. Janie, our receptionist, Bob, our finance manager, Kate, director of music ministry, Margaret, who's right over here, director of family faith formation, Meredith, our bookkeeper, Steve, who keeps things fixed and looking good, Carmela, our administrative assistant. Where are you, Carmela? I know you're around. She's amazing, the work she does to keep the rest of us looking good. Martha, who cleans the place, Anthony, our youth minister, Karen, our pastoral associate, Justin, who's wanted a shout out for months because he does the recycling and takes out the garbage for us. Go, Justin. Deacon Gil and Deacon Dave, all of who work to keep our ministries up and flowing and things looking good. We are just so blessed. Also this year, where is he? He's over there somewhere. I saw him. Jim Oliver. Where are you? We hired Jim. He's back there on the drums for us. He not only does he play drums, but he oversees all of our webcasting, all of our video, all of our tech stuff, our sound, our lighting. Amazing to have him on staff. So things are going incredibly well with our staff. In terms of some of our ministries, our high school and youth ministry are possibly the most dynamic I've ever seen in any parish I've been at. In high school, we have 40 students who come regularly, although there's often more than 40, but like a core of 40 who come regularly. Middle school, about 30 that come regularly. We also have a core team of high school students, 16 of them, who regularly plan and lead the sessions, and 5 young adults who are also there supporting and doing ministry with our high school and middle school ministry. As I mentioned, last year we confirmed 19 of our youth. This year we have 29 at the moment preparing for confirmation. When it comes to the programs Margaret oversees, our kindergarten through 5th grade, even our tiny tots and little lambs, we have about 220 children enrolled in those various programs up to 5th grade. What's wonderful about this is we also have 33 catechists, or teachers, if you will, of faith formation. These are men and women who have stepped up to pass the faith on to our children. And it's more incredible than you can imagine. In every parish I've been at, even at this one at one point, when the fall would come, we'd have to beg, cajole, plead to get enough adults to teach our children. We didn't have to do that this year. People were just there to do it. And not only that, it wasn't all women. Men are teaching faith formation as well, which I think is so important for children to see men, besides the deacons and myself ordained guys, as leaders in faith, as people who find faith important in their life. So thank you to all of our catechists. As you may note by the banner up front, and you'll see them later when we enroll them for First Communion, this year we have so many children for First Communion that one First Communion Mass won't do. We're going to have two. We can't fit the children, their families, and their guests into one Communion Mass. We have 62 of them preparing for that. That's actually one of the reasons this Mass is so well attended today, because we're having this event for them all. Yeah, it's worth applauding for. It's exciting, it's wonderful, and it just sort of reflects the dynamic of our parish right now. Just last month, we celebrated First Reconciliation with 40 of our children, and we have 5 older children who are preparing for baptism and Eucharist during the Easter season. As always, Vacation Bible School was an enormous success. Such a fun and exciting week in which so many basic principles of our faith are learned. This year, between the children attending, the youth who helped out on the teams, and the adults who were team leaders, we had about 300 people involved in that program for that week. We will be having Vacation Bible School again this year. It's scheduled for the week of June 20, right? So, yeah, and as it fills up quick, so make sure you get in there as soon as we start taking reservations. This year's theme is going to be the Totally Catholic Vacation Bible School Cave Quest. Following Jesus, the light of the world. So I guess we're going to go spelunking for our faith this year. We've also done a lot of improvements to our buildings and our facilities, some of which you may be aware of, and some of which you may not. Last year I shared with you that if we were to get a second priest here, and now with more than 1,000 families, we really do need one, we would have to finish up the living space remodel in the rectory. We have done that. Another suite of rooms has been prepared. I was on the phone the other day with the priest who we hope to have, and keep him in prayer. Hopefully he will be here by the end of next month, which would be great to have. You may have noticed, or maybe not, we have new lighting in the church. All of our lighting has been replaced with LED lighting. We've cut our bill in half and improved, or a third, and improved the lighting that we have. We have more lighting, brighter lighting, and more flexibility with the lighting, which will be lovely to use, especially during the great vigil of Easter. We've purchased new equipment for our webcasting of the Mass and of other events in the church. We webcast funerals, we webcast First Communion, we webcast confirmation, we webcast weddings, all those things. I hear regularly, either from parishioners who are home ill or who are traveling, or even from people in other parts of the country or other countries who stumble upon our website, the great value they find in the webcast that goes on, the camera that's there and there and there. Just so you know, you are on camera. You are on camera. People may see you. So while I'm thinking about it, just especially for this Mass, when anybody is here at the ambo, whether it's a lector or myself or Kate leading the psalm, please be aware that anything happening behind them is on camera as well. It is. So Kate's singing beautifully, "Your words, Lord, are spirit and life," and people are on their way to the restroom, you know. Or standing here looking for family. Or I'll tell you, yeah, you guys are all featured players today, so wave hi to the people at home. My favorite, I just have to, sometimes I think I should rent out the seat next to me so you can all take a turn to see what I see. But there was one day, Deacon Dave was here preaching away, and back by the Holy Spirit picture, there was a gentleman, I haven't seen him before, haven't seen him since. He had taken off his cowboy hat and put it right there on the stand where we keep the book of the Gospels. He had his sunglasses on, and he was sipping his coffee from his travel mug. And I'm sitting there going, oh, this has got to look good to the home viewing audience. This has got to look, but, so just to bear that in mind, that if someone's here, chances are if you do something there, you're going to be on camera. You're going to be on camera. So we installed new equipment for webcasting. All the burgundy chairs that surround the outside of the church, the chairs you guys are using, we purchased all those this last year because we became aware that on days like today, the church does not have the seating capacity we need. The church seats about 470. By the addition of all these chairs, we can fit in about 560 people, so that's helpful for us. If you've been in the Keeley Center, and I hope you go there after Mass for the pancake breakfast, you know that we've installed shades. They're beautiful. They cut the sunlight, but let light in. We have bought those for this building as well, because very often at Masses, if the sun's coming up or the sun's going down, people get blinded by the light. You can see they've been installed above the windows on this side of the church, and they will be installed above the windows there, so we'll be able to use those. Every building we have leaked. When it rained inside. I'm happy to say that all the roof repairs on the rectory and on the lower roof of this building have been completed. This ceiling and the Keeley Center has been patched, and complete repairs will be made once the rains go away and spring arrives. As you know, we took out all the old sort of jungle-esque dying trees that were out there on the west side of the church, replaced them with redwoods, and the new lawn is coming up very nicely. Take a look at that. It's very beautiful. We will also be doing our drought-resistant planting that we talked about earlier in the year, or last year. We'll do that again when the spring arrives and the rains go away. If you've not yet visited our new website, take a look at what our tech team and our website team created for us. It's been live for a couple months. It's dynamic, it's interactive, there's a lot of video on it. It really is created for people outside the parish who are looking for a parish, so that they get engaged and it's very easy for them to find information they might be looking for. So while it serves an external purpose, there's also internal information that's good for members of the parish who are looking for maybe stuff about weddings or baptisms or whatnot. We also added a video component to our small faith sharing group program last year, and that was very well received. Speaking of our faith sharing groups, last year the numbers in those were larger than they've ever been. The Lenten series we did on pressure and stress and fear, you guys received that so incredibly well. Thank you for that. And the fall series on the Mass, also very well received. If you've not yet signed up for a small faith group this Lent, the table is out back here. It'll be here this weekend and next weekend. I really encourage you to do that. I've mentioned to you before that in my dream world, if I was to open a new parish, I would make joining a small faith group a requirement of being in the parish. Here's your registration form, name, address, email. When will you meet with a group? It's not an option. I just believe it's that essential and that important to faith development, to share your faith with others and to hear their faith stories as well. This Lent we'll be looking at, of course, since it's the extraordinary Jubilee of Mercy and that I'm going to be commissioned as a missionary of mercy, we are looking at mercy, God's mercy. And we're going to get very real about it. I mean, how can we possibly claim that we have a God of mercy when you look at the world? When you look at man-made disasters, natural disasters, war, terrorism, when you look at what this century's been like, when you look at what last century was like, world wars, holocausts, how do you even begin to say that God is a God of mercy? We're going to wrestle with questions like that during the Lenten season. Lenten small groups will meet for 4 weeks only. We're trying to keep it simple for you. And the 5th week of Lent will be the parish mission. So please sign up for that today. A couple other things going on. RCIA, the process that prepares adults for initiation into the church, that used to operate like a 9-month cycle. However, the Spirit moves when the Spirit needs to, and people would come year-round looking to join the church. So that's now a year-round process. Anytime someone comes and says, hey, I think I'm interested, we have a place for them. You may have noticed at the end of Mass, and this happens at every Mass, we are sending forth ministers with communion to take it to the homebound and the sick. That ministry's been beautifully organized, and I would say it's not infrequent that over the course of a weekend, 40 to 50 hosts leave this community to go out to those who could not join us for Mass. So that's a very beautiful and wonderful thing. In 2016, we hope to have a parish retreat, a family retreat, a Bible study on Luke, a health ministry, and also more like one evening adult education offering. So be looking for all that stuff. Financially, people are always interested in how we're doing financially. As I mentioned, we will have a summer report for you in the near future, but at any time, please feel free to call or email our finance manager, Bob Lindbergh. His information is on the bulletin. The money we're dealing with is the money that you entrust to us. We want to be as transparent with that as we possibly can be. But to give you some overall numbers to help you understand where we're at, even with all these improvements, the addition of staff, the increase in costs of doing business, increase in salaries, we still ended the year in the black to the tune of about $23,000. So that's fantastic. Yeah. We also have $701,000 in diocesan savings. So we're in pretty good shape. And the question becomes, how did that happen? How did that happen? And the answer really is your generosity. I mean, when it comes to a parish or any church, we really only have one revenue stream. It's you guys. And your generosity has been amazing. Our plate collection in 2015 over 2014 grew by about 15%, which is breathtaking. 28% of our budget comes through electronic funds transfer, EFT, and credit card donation. And I can't tell you the difference that makes in our ability to budget and our ability to plan. So for those of you who use credit card and EFT and those who increased it during the year, thank you so much for that. If you didn't know we did that and would like to use EFT, if that's convenient for you, there are some EFT forms on the table in the back next to the small faith group signups. So the plate collection was amazing. And the second thing that really helped us out is, you may remember at the end of 2014, we had that diocesan capital campaign. And the part of that was that 25% of the monies collected, not pledged, but actually collected, would come back to the parish for our use. So to date, of those monies collected, what's come back to the parish has been about $62,000. So that's been very helpful for us. There was no bishop's appeal in 2015 that was folded into the capital campaign. But the bishop's appeal will happen again this year, 2016. I think it's scheduled for next month, so just a heads up on that. Also, as you may be aware, we are a tithing parish. What that means is 5% of every dollar you give to us, we as a parish set aside to give away, to help those in need. So between that 5% and the Lenten collections that we had last year and the backpack project that we did last year, as a community, we gave away about $71,000 in charity to those in need. I think that's possibly one of our greatest strengths, is the way that we reach out to help those in our local community needs. So thank you for that. So thank you for your stewardship. It means more to us than just enable us to pay the bills comfortably. As you know, when the church does things that people don't like, what's the first thing they do? They stop giving, right? People say, that's the only way I can communicate to the leadership of the church. Conversely, your generous support and prayerful stewardship says to me and the staff that you support and approve of the ministry we're doing and how we're doing it, of the direction the parish is going, of our initiative to bring the gospel to Livermore and beyond. And that means a whole lot. It means a whole lot more than we can pay our bills. It's good to know that the people of God are with us in our work to bring the message of God to more people of God. So thank you for that. And then just a few quick final thoughts for you. The first one, same as last year, and this is in the bulletin for you in my column. The Triduum is coming. Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday. Please mark those on your calendar and join us for them. They are the most important days of our faith, the three most important days of our faith. And they're actually one celebration that takes 3 days to celebrate. Please join us for those. They're just immensely important. And then I want to mention two things quickly from the town hall meetings that we had in May. Only two things, because we reported back on pretty much everything else from those town hall meetings. But there was one opportunity and one concern I want to address. The one opportunity is this. It was very, very clear to us, strongly so, that this community really desires more social events. More opportunity to just get together and enjoy each other's company, and I get that. You're enjoyable people to be with. The challenge we have is who's going to organize those social events. The staff is already like up to here. So we need to try to figure out and form some sort of social wingding hoo-ha party committee to put on however many events a year they want to do, as complicated or as simple, whether it's formal dinner dances off-site or, let's go watch the Super Bowl in the hall and have a potluck sort of event. They're all good. So if you love to throw parties and plan parties and would love to do that for 1,110 families, please call the office, let us know. And we'll put together a committee and group and start to make that happen. So that's the opportunity we have. The concern that people have expressed, and I completely get it, is that as we continue to grow, as we have for 4 years now, there's a fear that we're going to lose our sense of being a small community, of knowing each other and being close to each other. And I get that. But I think there's 2 things we can do that will help negate that concern. Because I'll tell you, when people do join the parish, the number 1 reason they tell us why they are here is because of the warmth, because of the hospitality, because of you guys who make them feel welcome and reach out to them. So here's the 2 things I think we can do to maintain that. 1, not to sound like a broken record, but join a small faith group. Get to know the people of your parish. Get to spend time with them. Learn their names, learn their stories, learn their families, learn their lives. It makes you feel connected. And the other is the same challenge that I left you with last year, and that is simply this. If there is someone in this building whose face you do not know, introduce yourself. Take that as a challenge every single week. Every week you sit roughly in the same places, and there's probably people across from you who you see, or next to you, or behind you, or in front of you, who you pray with and worship God with every week. You receive communion with them every week, but you have no idea who they are. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Every week, set as a goal for yourself to say hi to one person who you've not yet met. And see if that doesn't help keep us together and keep us feeling like a small community, even as God continues to bless us with amazing growth and resources. Earlier this week, the Catholic Voice came out. Oy. And that's been a kind of a ride for me. And many people have said to me, it's been very kind to hear, that they are proud to have me as their pastor. I can return that compliment and just say how proud I am to have you as my parish. In these days of my ministry as a priest, I can't imagine being anywhere else. It is my prayer and hope that as we continue our journey together through 2016, in this extraordinary Jubilee year, that we will truly come to understand how we are experiencing last year and this year and even in this moment, the profound mercy of God that is so bountifully poured upon us at St. Charles Borromeo.